In the light of the copyright Gestapo killing everything I've ever loved or cared about, I've been hitting the fields and playing a lot of Stardew Valley to calm my tired nerves. The game is great, creating an atmosphere and tone that are damn near therapeutic, with a simple world and setting that's open for the player to enjoy in countless different ways. All this therapy, however, got my brain turning and reminded me of, what else but Harvest Moon. The series is one I hold close to my heart, but never had I actually played any of its games to any sort of completion. So it was only now that I realized that Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life is one of the most beautiful things ever. The game is a proper ending in which the player character passes away, an old friend standing on an empty beach giving their final words to the departed and detailing their journey. How, through the family they raised, their dreams are being fulfilled and how they help to make the life of the town richer and more vibrant. Their final words being a request to farm together in the next life. The entire game is your legacy, being told by a friend to your departed father. I haven't played much of A Wonderful Life, but I have sunk many an hour into various other Harvest Moon games in Stardew Valley, and I know the kind of experience that the game is. Simply said, this ending is outstanding, and I had to stifle tears. It called to mind a very similar sense of completion and fulfillment with regard to life that another very similarly titled story did, and that's Tomoyo After It's a Wonderful Life. This pseudo-sequel to Clannad is not very good. The pacing is all over the place and the legitimately moving character drama is counterbalanced by loads of uninteresting comedy and, of course, the concrete block of a heroine that is Tomoyo. That said, the game's final hour or two cranks the emotion up to 11 and features a bombardment of powerful character interactions, highlighting how important the mundane everyday is and how easily one can make the world special. There's a fantastic message about the value of life and the everyday in both of these titles, but beyond what they say is how they say it that fascinates me. Both titles use death not to highlight a sense of loss, but one of accomplishment. These stories ask you to look back on the life you lived, the simple mundane actions of working at a farm, or spending yet another lazy day with Takafumi and Tomo, and realize just how precious all of those memories were. It asks you to look not at what you're losing, but what you managed to build, and be proud. There is, of course, that sense of loss. One of the most impactful moments in Tomoyo After was Sunahara, lamenting how without Tomoya, the home he had in the town is gone as well. But the weight of that loss comes from the love therein. Having that love is enough. And this love doesn't come from any sort of world-changing melodramatic shouting fest. Rather, it's just the normal everyday hijinks spent with Sunahara that feel so precious and light at the end. It reminded me just how fun the school life of Clannad was. Harvest Moon, while having its emotional moments peppered here and there in tiny bits, is not a tear-jerking roller coaster. And while Tomoyo After is certainly more so that kind of narrative than Harvest Moon, the ends of these stories are able to draw up so much emotion specifically because they have so many moments of joy. I was most moved because I remembered how much I cared for Tomo and Sunahara, the same way how in Harvest Moon one reflects on their spouse and family, the friends they made in town, and can think to themselves, wow, all of this is so precious. All of this is so special. This simple sort of everyday we live in. These stories aren't making some grand commentary about the nature of the human condition. Rather, they look back on the simple. They look back on the old summer days spent tilling the fields, collecting eggs, playing a puzzle with Kaneko, or reading a book with Tomo and ask, wasn't that nice? Their message is much simpler, but that's what makes it so special. They remind you that you don't need to save the world to find meaning in life. That all you need to keep you going and to make your days matter is something small, like someone to take care of. You don't really understand the reason you're born until you die. But looking back on it all, what we'll remember are the little things, the bonds we made and the things we did. Why did I play Stardew Valley for 36 hours in like 4 days? Why did I spend so long fiddling around with friends in Mineral Town and Harvest Moon DS when I barely understood anything? Because they reminded me of a simple thing, that life is beautiful, that the world around me is beautiful, that human interaction is precious. Just like how an adult grows nostalgic for the little moments of their childhood, so too are those same kind of moments the things we'll hold closest when our lives come to a close. That sort of daily fun, moments you can't quite place, but a feeling you'll never forget. The search for meaning can drive you mad, I know that a large chunk of my own life has been spent second-guessing myself, wondering if I'm doing the best with the time that I have. It's so easy to think that you're wasting away. In fact, the easiest thing in the world is to think thoughtlessly that you're doing everything wrong. But that's exactly why I think stories like these are so valuable. Why truly great slice of life is so effective. They pull you out of your own head and remind you of a very simple fact. It's a wonderful life. Thank you.